Go ahead and call to order our regularly scheduled meeting of September the 3rd, 2024 to order with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First off, I want to go ahead and apologize to everyone for our late start. Unfortunately, we've had several meetings this afternoon and we just kept getting further and further behind. As much as we tried to catch up, we just kept getting further behind, but I apologize. Nevertheless, we are here now, so we'll go ahead and get started. First off on the agenda, easy for me to say, right? Approval of minutes from our regular meeting of August 19th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 19th as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion from Randy, a second from Jerry. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Approval of claims.
I'll make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
I'll second for point of discussion.
Well,
Go ahead. I think that's what you're trying to do. That's why I like it.
I stuttered for a second. Sheriff left. In the claims, it shows that the sheriff bought 2 trucks, I believe.
I think it was just one.
No, I think it's 2 or 3.
It was $93,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can ask real quick.
And off to the side, it said boat revenue instead of sheriff.
That's money that he has in the casino.
In his revenue
Yeah.
fund.
Just 10% or whatever it is he gives.
So
I don't know what I don't know what the percent is.
that's what I figured it was.
Yeah,
The other thing in there, I seen that we did get ADP or the third party consultants line collection paid.
yeah.
That also came out of casino revenue.
I'd have to look and see what she exactly took it out of.
1191.
Yeah. I believe that's what was voted to take it out of.
I
I
don't
remember.
know if we voted or I don't remember.
He got 2 trucks.
That's what I thought.
Not just one.
I thought it was 2. I wasn't questioning how many, I just wanted to
Yeah.
see which fund. Okay, let's go.
Any further discussion? Got a motion by Randy, a second by Jamie. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Guess I could have said to approve as presented, but
That's okay.
Superintendent Dusty Hunt.
The crews have touched up shoulder berming on Little Hominy, Plum Creek slide repair. I had almost finished in here, but they do have it done now. They're waiting on a couple tests to come back on the soil nails. Crews poured concrete to fix a crossing on Gullion Road. We're still mowing roadsides. We're digging out soft spots on Wolf Road for repair. When done, we'll move to Lighter Road for soft spot dig out repair. And here a while back, we was talking about the speed studies. I did talk to Derek with USI, and he said we do have to have a speed study done before we can enforce a posted speed limit.
That's a little bit different than the opinion we got from our legal counsel.
Okay.
It's the same as the opinion we got back, I kind of forgot about this, but back in December, I asked the attorney to interpret the IC code
Mhm.
for Marianne Drive. You'll remember,
Yep,
there was no speed line. We got complaints about speeders.
yep,
in
I
the
remember we
subdivision.
posted that.
And I interpreted the IC code as long as we didn't set it under 25 miles per hour. We could set speed limits. But I want to make sure I was correct again. And so I called and talked to the attorney last week. And he looked at it again. We don't need a speed study if we're not setting it under 25 miles per hour. So you do some digging and relook at it, and then send another email and say, I'm not finding anything that says anything different. So we can post speed on Garland Road, which I have on my notes tonight to
Okay,
try to take care of.
so we're good then.
Yeah, as long as we don't set it under 25 miles per hour, because then it starts falling into school zone type situations.
So I'll just read his response because it's a little bit ambiguous as well. This is in follow-up to our discussion. It does appear under IC code 9-21-5-6B that the county can reduce the default 30-mile-an-hour speed limit in an urban district, not less than 25 mile per hour without a traffic study. Urban district meaning the territory contiguous to and including any street that is built up with structures devoted to businesses, industry, or dwelling houses situated at intervals of less than 200 feet for a distance of at least 1/4 mile. Then he goes on to say, I'll continue to research whether other county roads can have reduced speed limits without a study. My only concern is, does that qualify as an urban district?
No,
I don't think it does.
as far as what we did on the subdivisions, yes, I think we're good there. But as far as the county road, I don't think we have the housing close enough together.
My only concern is that I don't know that road qualifies. Obviously, the other one probably did because the houses are
Yeah, they're close.
close together.
Right. Well, I didn't know you all had found that part out either, so we're good.
I mean, if you still feel that it's questionable, then fire away.
My only concern is it doesn't qualify as an urban district, but that's my
But
concern.
that's setting it under 25, right?
I wish I hadn't closed it. I'll read it one more time.
I thought urban was 30, but I don't think it's 30.
In follow-up to our discussion today, it does appear that under IC code, the county can reduce the default 30-mile-an-hour speed limit to an urban district to not less than 25 without a traffic study. So in an urban district, I don't believe that is an urban district. Then he goes on to define urban district, meaning the territory contiguous to and including any street that is built up with structures devoted to business, industry, or dwelling houses situated at intervals of less than 200 feet for a distance of at least 1/4 mile. That's why I don't think that it applies, is because I don't think
What, 3, 4 houses on there?
that's right.
Something like that.
They gotta be less than 200 feet apart.
It's gotta be subdivision.
So if you went by the rural road, which is 55, could you take it to 45?
Well, that's what he's
Does that
saying.
say? I think we should just go ahead and get the speed study.
I think to be safe, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Then we know it's enforceable.
right.
you know, that's what when I talked to him, we discussed, you know, if it's not posted, then it can be 55.
And Derek's here. Derek, do you want to comment anything on the
And he said, no,
speed limit?
you know, you can change that down to 30 mile an hour without a speed study. At least that was his interpretation.
I can answer questions as far as that goes from my experience, 27 years in law enforcement, and then also doing traffic studies at the city police department, working with the engineer, doing those traffic studies. That's what we did. And yes, you're right, we can reduce it, but if it's anything, if it's not already an urban area that's 30, you can reduce it down just that small amount. But if it's a county road and you want to reduce it down, then you're going to have a speed study to show that. And it's
We're not
easily
reducing
done,
it.
but-
There's no speed up on it.
Well, it's an assumed 55 if there's no speed limit, that's what that is. And there's really only 4 speed limits in the state of Indiana that a law enforcement officer would write a ticket off of. And one of them is the 55, the other one's a posted. Well, in order to have it posted, then that's where that speed limit or speed study would come into play. And we do have that availability. If it's deemed that you need that, we can come out and study that road and give you what that speed limit would be, an engineering study, basically. So it's something we can do.
Okay.
Thanks, Derek.
What would, just curious, when you say the engineering study, would it give you a
The manual on,
zone, meaning
yeah, the
you can
manual,
post it from here to here, or?
the manual on uniform traffic control devices, in that manual, the federal government has one so that if you go across the United States, you're gonna see the same type of stop signs, the same things that are uniform across the United States. In Indiana, Indiana adopted their own manual. And in that, there is a section that says that any municipality shall use this manual when posting any type of signage, whether it comes to warning signs or regulatory signs or anything like that, speed limits, whatever it may be. They'll tell you what the size of the sign is, how high off on the pole it should be, how far off the road. It gives you everything, so they're all uniform, so that you don't have, let's say, like a county that comes in and says, we're gonna make all our speed limits 45, and it's not gonna be posted. And then you drive through there and somebody writes you a ticket. Well, it can't be different than what state law is unless you have a study behind it to show that.
I guess I didn't word that very well. I guess I meant a range. Will the speed study say you can post it anywhere from, say, 25 to 45, or will it tell you?
We will look at the design of the roadway. Are there any view obstructions, any type of, a corner, a hill, any of that stuff can also cause that to go. And in that manual, it'll tell you what the warrants are to say when it should be reduced and how much it should be and what to post it as. So that would be something that we would have, we go out and we calculate, or, not calculate, but, track the number of vehicles. We'd look for the 85th percentile of that vehicle, of how fast those vehicles are traveling. That's the normal speed limit that you'd want to set it at. So 85% of the vehicles that travel that road will normally be at a speed that would be appropriate for it. So you try to look for that, and you look for any other extenuating circumstances, such as hills or curbs or trees or anything like that that may cause that. So that's something that we would look at and give you a report to say this is what that speed limit should be set at. So that's what we would do.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
The cost of doing study.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Move on.
I stopped and measured Duford Court that we was talking about in the past meeting. It starts out at 16 feet wide at the beginning. It's 15 feet in the middle and 14 at the end. It's 0.16 miles long. And without tearing the blacktop up to see the base, what I can see on the shoulder, looks like the base is good. And it does have the 15-inch culverts.
You, off the top of your head, what are width? I want to say 18.
It's 18 feet. I don't know if I have it with me. It's 18-inch culverts. I believe it's 10 inches of base, counting 73 finish coat. I think it's 10 inches long. I don't have it with me.
The problem is, this is really no different than what was the one we just discussed 2 or 3 meetings ago.
Yeah, Carroll Turner.
Trail Turner, right, because it's not 18 foot either.
This has been maintained for a long time. Right. Thanks for.
There's
It is
sufficient turnarounds at the end.
Yeah, there's basically a Y there, which one of them is a house driveway, so to me, you would want to put a turnaround in separate from that driveway if it was taken over. I thought I had that. There it is. So it's to have a minimum of 8 inches of gravel base composed of number 2 or a mixture of 2s and 53s with a gravel cap of 73s. Sufficient ditches, culvert pipes were necessary with a minimum diameter of 18 inches and a minimum of 18 foot of actual road service. And a minimum right of way of 50 feet. I do not have a right of way on.
Don't know for sure, but I believe that what she showed us was the width of the road was the actual right of way.
I think it was, and I know I didn't bring it. I wrote the length of the road. I had to bring it with me and I forgot it.
I can't see
I can't see it.
anything as far as width.
Probably with him or somewhere.
I call it easement.
Does it show between the two properties maybe?
See what's there. I don't know if there's any writing in it.
Those are all the GPS. Or the flags we bought. And the blacktop on it's fairly decent shape. I mean, a couple of years or so, it probably could use chip and seal, but.
And how long was it again? 6 tenths, you said?
0.16, so. inch and a half.
I'll see.
Y'all want to see this one?
I figured
I almost know this.
obviously, there's no way, I don't think that we can make a decision tonight.
Right.
We need to understand what, if any, right of way or easements there is right of way off of that drive, which I'm gonna guess there are none, but we'll need to find that out. And then again, but the bottom line is it's not in compliance with the ordinance as written. But on the other hand, neither was
Really close.
the other road.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's already been being.
If we're gonna keep making exceptions, and we might wanna look at changing the ordinance. There's no point in having it if we're not gonna hold to it, I guess. We've already made one exception to it, because it used to be if it connected to an asphalt surface, then it had to be an asphalt surface.
Yeah, I did find that old ordinance, but this new one,
We took that out, yeah.
Definitely get that. You could never expect somebody to blacktop a road before.
There's roughly,
Right away on it.
there's roughly 46 feet. Let me check this real quick. Yeah, it's gonna be 45, 46 feet from property line to property line. This is on our.
GIS.
Yeah. And I'm just what it is there. So if anything, you're probably 40 foot, and that looks like it shows the whole way back through here, it all looks the same deal. And then right here is where it ends at. Basically, I think it was 12 feet past this driveway with the black stuff. But if we did take it over, I would try to get permission here or here and put our own turnaround in, so you're not using somebody's driveway. So it's close all the way around, whatever you're gonna do.
What are you looking for? I fought my battle, this one's y'all. I fought my battle on the left.
And as far as the culverts, I mean, it says 18 inch, but where it's got a culvert at, it doesn't require an 18 inch culvert. I mean, there's not much runoff there.
So where you would like to put the turnaround, obviously that's gonna be outside of that 40 or 50 foot right of way down through there, correct?
So,
We might need to okay to do that.
Well,
I mean, we might be cutting somebody's property.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what we're gonna do.
you definitely have to get permission to do that.
Yeah, get permission
From the land,
Yeah.
whoever owns it.
but
Of course, you could also get permission too to turn around in the driveway that's already tied to it, you know. But either way, you have to figure that first.
so they have to know that you're either gonna turn around at the back, at the end of the Y, or you're gonna put in a turnaround.
Yeah,
Want the road taken care of, then that has to be
yeah,
clear.
yeah.
Do we know, well, we really don't have any idea. Well, we do have an idea where you want to put that. Do we know who owns that property?
Joe Parham owns the
Joe
back
does.
house on the left. The one on the right, I'm not sure who owns it. Might be, I don't,
Is the name of that road, does it even have a name?
Dupper Court.
That's the name of the road.
Well, I'm assuming that's what's on that map. But that may be the name of the
It's on the
lane.
street sign there.
Is there?
Before Lane. Is what it's called. I'll make a motion to approve the county taking over maintenance of Dufour Lane contingent on getting authorization from property owners to put in a turnaround in order to allow us to do proper maintenance.
I'll second the motion.
Got a motion from Jamie, a second from Randy, for the county to take over maintenance of Dufour Lane pending authorization or approval from the landowners to be able to put in, proper turnaround. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
two more things I wanted to talk about. So we've talked back and forth about a mini hoe and a grinder head. And we've also talked about a line striping machine.
Right.
We get tons of calls on wanting lines on the roads. So I got the one quote there's on a line striping machine for, I think it's 56,000 something. Then I got a quote on the mini hoe and the mulcher head there.
Can you get more quotes?
I can, I put a couple other feelers out there, but nobody's got back to me, so,
Where's the mini home charge?
it's,
I don't, hold on.
well, I can't.
I think if we're gonna get additional quotes, we probably shouldn't.
Okay.
say what
The
they are.
line striper, I'm not getting any more quotes on, because they're all so far away from here that I'm being at that machine, I
The
don't.
line striker with us, right?
Yeah,
The new,
yes, and it has to be built.
typically, what does this cost us for center line mile to get striping done?
It depends on what day you're striping, but I think Mark and Mike was quoted for $20,000 for that mile and a quarter we did on the bottom.
20,000.
Rather have something a little more firm than, and I know I'm not putting you on the spot, but
Well, I got it.
surely it isn't typically $18,000 a mile.
More expensive
Yeah.
chips.
That's what I thought. That's why I said the line striper sounds pretty good.
But
So what,
trying to get a line striper to put fog lines on these roads for my whole 7 years.
yeah. So just going off what we was quoted on Markham Pike, if we did, so basically we got 350 miles of roads in the counties. I mean, some of it's gravel, so we're not gonna stripe everything, but
I think we got approximately 275 paved center line miles.
yeah, so I mean, if you just take the 350 at 20,000 a mile, that's $7 million to do the whole county. If we do it, that's 1,195 a mile, that's including breaking the machine down between the 300.
Well, I think we got, how much of that 20,000 a mile is consumable products? Paint.
That's what I'm saying, if you look, here, I can show you this. If you look at the top up here, that's 4 guys' labor, that's the paint, that's breaking the machine down and everything. And it'll cost us, whatever I got wrote down, $1,100 some dollars a mile. That's including the machine, the labor, the paint, everything. And the paint is
So
expensive.
it's quicker, $1,000 a mile for the paint. And is that just fog lines or center lines
That's
as
just
well?
2 white lines, one.
Just the
side.
2 white lines?
Yeah.
And that's all
Now
we had quoted on Markland Enterprise Pike? No center line?
I don't know. I would have to.
I think we need to understand, I mean, it looks, on the surface, it looks like a no-brainer whether it was
Right.
both, but I think we need to make sure we understand.
And even at, I mean, let's say it's 10,000 miles. I mean, you do 5 miles of road, you pay for the striper already. You ain't paid for the product, but you pay for the machine.
And that machine will do center line. I mean, we're not gonna center line most of our roads, but it will do center line. It has the intermittent sprayer for passing zones and such.
Yeah. So like on our big roads, Markle Pike and that, if we wanted center lines, the machine's capable of it. It'll put down the glass beads over the top of the paint for reflection and all that. If that's what we want to do. And I don't care either way, but I know we get a lot of calls for, and the complaint is usually when it's dark and raining, you can't see the side, and I understand.
Yeah, the other thing I think we gotta keep in mind, the payback, the ROI is several years, because typically we pave or resurface less than 5 miles a year.
Right,
So you're only gonna get that benefit off of 5 miles a year, so,
right.
in the 6 years I've been commissioner, counting the million we're supposed to spend this year, we spent $4 million, which at today's rates would get you about 24 miles. So we're about 4 miles a year is all we're
Yep.
paving based on what we've been given to resurface roads.
But you-
Hopefully that's getting ready, hopefully that's gonna change, but
But you can still go ahead and right now, mark my Pikeway it is, and go ahead and stripe it right now, right? Am I, it
I mean,
doesn't have to be.
even roads that.
Yeah,
we-
Right,
yeah.
I mean, you get to start getting some
We would
benefit.
stripe everything we got, yes.
Right.
Old roads, new roads, yes.
The white fog
Right, I mean,
lines on the sides of the roads.
I see what you're saying versus you're
well,
looking.
if we're gonna resurface it next year, there'd be no point in
Well,
striping it this year,
right,
but.
not that way, yes.
No.
Yeah, but.
Well, yeah, you'd have
you
to
know,
pick damaged roads and, you know.
Understand and agree.
I think that's,
I just don't want us to think our return on investment is immediate. If we decide we're gonna go out and do every road that doesn't currently have stripes,
no, you're right
then,
there.
yeah, it would be immediate.
Right.
You know, you also have to look at, yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at safety and taxpayer safety and values who having those white fog lines on the road gonna cause a lot less accidents.
I don't disagree with anything.
So to me, that's important. What,
I know we bought that.
So you have basically 75,000 left in your 24 budget, correct?
Yeah.
Cause we put 125.
Well, I
in-
got two equipment budgets. One's got 75, and one's got 20, so I got 95 total.
Cause we did have like 125, but we spent 30 some on a road.
So that we paid for out of chip and seal. We haven't touched any of the actual equipment line items.
But we're still looking for a truck engine too, right? That's gonna come out of some spots.
Yes, but we have talked to mainland where we've had some work done in the past, and we took gonna take truck 18 over tomorrow, because Freightliner wouldn't work on it, so we're gonna take it to them, and they said they could also look at truck 6 and maybe replace whatever cylinder's bad, or sleeve, whatever we need, so I'm gonna look at that route next before because we can't find anything decent to buy that's gonna make sense to buy for that old truck. But there again, we had a 5-year plan for new trucks and we're.
well,
on
that's, I was just gonna say, that's for 6 years, I think. County council was good enough to give us the money to buy 2 dump trucks 6
Three.
years ago. 3 dump trucks,
We got 3.
haven't bought any since. We got about 3 or 4 ready to fall down the hill.
Yeah, we got 2 down right
Falling
now.
apart. One with a blown up.
And
But,
so back on the excavators, we can actually rent that for like a month or so. That's like $5 grand a month. But we can do that to make sure that it's gonna do the job we want before we actually purchase it. And I've talked to him too. We could even work out like a week trial period to see if we like it as well. We got some options there to look at. But if you want more quotes on that,
I think we need more than one quote.
yeah, that's fine. I was supposed to have another one today, but it never showed us, so.
I entertain a motion on the striper if you guys are interested.
And I did talk with him today. If, since we got limited money right now, we can put down a certain amount on that to get it built and pay the rest of it later, at a later date.
What was it?
We can put down a certain amount on that till they get it built and pay the rest at a later date, so we don't
I
have
don't
to pay
say
all
anything to
up front.
build it.
He didn't really say.
I'm pretty sure if we get it ordered today, we'll never use it this year.
That's what I'm thinking, that we won't use it this year.
I don't know.
You know, I mean, and I know it's, Jerry, I'm like you, I think it's something we need, but I hate to just spend $56,000 and watch it set for 6 months, you know.
Well, it won't be set, we just won't have it,
We won't have it, but, you know,
because it's built.
How much will that price change by?
well, that's a good question, that's a very good question.
You said that fits on
It'll go on our flatbed or it'll go in the back of an 8-foot pickup. And it's got a carriage on the back, so it's got all your tanks up in the front. And it's got a carriage in the back that will swing from side to side, so if you wanna do sideline or center line.
So we wouldn't get this, if we decided to purchase this today, when would we get it again?
I would have to ask him, he didn't really give me a date today. I thought when I first talked to him, which was, well, when did I talk to you, a month or two ago?
Yeah.
I thought he said around a month lead time, but I don't wanna say that for sure, 'cause I don't know.
It's there.
You ever bought from this place before?
No,
Cause if you're a first time customer, you have to pay by credit card, there's a 5% processing fee. It doesn't show a lead time.
I'd say for municipalities.
But there's no place closer that you can get another quote
No,
on.
Apples, isn't it?
69.
I thought it was.
Where I'm at, just,
Indian, no, yeah.
I'd like to see another quote. I honestly would, I wanna do this, but I'd like to see another quote. I don't know what she does, that's kind of,
Yeah, we can do that.
you know. I mean, put it on the agenda for next meeting. I mean, you know, the table is up to you. I mean, it's precedent, so.
No one makes a motion,
This morning.
there's no point in tabling.
There's someone,
Yeah, whatever y'all wanna do, I'm fine.
I'd like to see if you can get another quote.
Get another quote,
Because,
bring it back to the next meeting.
I mean, I'm leaning for this, okay, but I'd just like to see another quote. If you could, please.
We can do that. And the last thing I got is, Derek wants to talk to us about our Cuban Bridge plan.
Derek Toll with USI Consultants. I have with me Mike Oberfell, also with USI. Mike's been in the business for, almost 40 years now, and he's president of USI. And he's been down looking at several of your structures. And the reason why we've kind of been looking at these is lately, we finished the bridge inspections, and there were several of the bridges that need some immediate attention. There are some holes that are in there from rodents. There are also some, I don't know what the wording is, Mike would know them better, but they've been washed away. Some of this, the riprap and so forth that needs to be replaced. Some of the piles are being exposed that need attention to those, get those covered up so the water and stuff doesn't get to them, so they don't rust. So there's several bridges with that. And so with that, we're also talking with Dusty that in order to do that work, we also looked at his 5-year bridge plan, and that needs to be updated. The last one we did was back in 2020, and we need to update that. So we're working with Dusty to get that updated. So we were looking at those types of things, and there's several things in there that I think that with the county, we need to address with that.
So you all, didn't we contract USI to do the bridge plan?
We have, well, we do that bridge plan. That's what we're doing. We need to get it updated. All right, because this was from 2020. It's been 4 years, so we need to update that now. There's several bridges on here that you guys have fixed already, but we need to get it updated. So that's what we're working on at this point. But the immediate need is with these bridges that need repairs, and some of them are going to require permitting through DNR, IDM, and so forth. Those are going to need to be addressed sooner than later. And looking at that, there is a bridge, Bridge 66, that's probably going to be very expensive. And we need to look at that bridge and say, do we want to go federal aid to get it replaced? Because it's going to be several $1 million to get this bridge replaced. Probably more than.
Where's that bridge located?
Lower top.
Right at the bottom.
Yeah. It's got that center.
Bridge that gets about 5 cars a day.
Popcorn. It's,
And that's one that, because of the cost with it, you could leverage some of that money with federal aid and only pay 20% of that amount, but there are certain requirements that go along with the federal part of it. So we would like to, and what we were going to recommend to Dusty and recommend to the commissioners is that we do an engineering study on that to determine what's going to be the best alternative or the best way to get that bridge replaced. Is federal aid the right way to go? Is community crossing the right way to go? Because you guys pay 25% instead of with that, but it's only construction. Whereas the 20% for federal aid, they could include the engineering part of it also. But there are certain other requirements with it. So we want to find out what's going to be the best alternative and what's going to be the best way for the county to proceed looking at that. And the only way to do that really is by us going out and doing an engineering assessment to look at that. So with our on-call that we have with the county, we could get an authorization to proceed if you so wish, that we could have, Dusty can sign and we could go ahead and do that. And we were looking at a cost of that of being about $15,000 to do that engineering assessment to determine what would be the best way to get that accomplished. If we go federal aid, you're looking at 2030 money, I believe it's 2030, isn't it? Yeah. 2030 money for construction. So we're still 5 or 6 years out of getting that constructed. Will that bridge last that long? We hope so.
When's it on the
28.
bridge plan for replacement?
28. So we need to get that working in place if that's the case. But we want to do this in the most economical way for you guys and how we can look at that. So is it better to go local? Is it better to go community crossings? Is it better to go with, federal aid? Mike went out and looked at it today and he's got some alternatives, but there may be ways that we could, because there's also a low water crossing right there close to it. There's some opportunities there to maybe get a couple things taken care of in that whole structure and have that taken care of, but that would all be part of that engineering assessment to look at that. So that would help with that piece of it. So there's that. And then also in this engineering part, we want to look at your small structures. Talking with Dusty, we don't have a good inventory of those. And normally we only look at bridges that are 20 feet and over. Anything less than 20 feet, that does not get inspected. But there's a lot of structures out there that are 10 to 15 to 19 feet that are just as dangerous if they get washed out as a 20-foot structure that would need to be looked at. So we were looking at alternatives of how we can help the county in their Cume Bridge to be able to incorporate the small structures in the inspections also, so that comes out of the funding. So those are several things that we're looking at, and we can address each one individually. And Mike's been out and looked at all these structures that need the maintenance repairs, and he has a better idea of what each one would kind of take. And I would turn it over to Mike to kind of explain what some of those structures are requiring and what it would take to get those back up to condition that is.
So as Derek mentioned, we do your bridge inspections. I mean, that's what you've hired us to do. And as part of those, we offer that to our clients to do a 5-year bridge plan. So you have some kind of idea where your funding would go for your Cume Bridge account. So the last time we updated that was in 2020. You've replaced 3 of the 6, I think, that were on there, or did some kind of work to get them off the list. So that's just something that we need to get updated as part of this year's program. The ones that need maintenance, you don't have too many. The big one is Bridge 7, which is out where I want to say it was 4 or 5 years ago, the big flood washed out 2 of your structures. And it's right down the street from the one. And I don't know why it didn't get, I don't know why that didn't get fixed during that whole process, but.
First one on Jackson.
Oh, and Jack, I was expecting to fight.
That's what I was thinking. Number 7 is which one?
When you say you turn on Jackson from 129, right there.
Yeah, it was never affected by a flood.
Well, I think we got some.
Backwater, man.
Yeah.
Am I using the wrong one? I'm talking about 6, which is on.
Oh, yeah,
Benedict
you're right.
Island.
It's on Benedict
Yeah,
Island.
7's not nearly as bad. 6 has the whole, we call them 2-to-1 spill through slopes because they're 2 vertical to 1 horizontal, and it's just vertical down there. It got washed out during that flood. And I thought I got it fixed, but, after I looked at this year's inspection notes, that one didn't get any work done. So it's kind of precariously, that end bench just kind of precariously hanging up there. It's on piles, it's safe, but the next flood, you're probably washing out that whole end of that road. And at the time of that flood, we assisted with some estimates and quantities, so you guys could try to get FEMA monies at the time. So I still have the drawings I did and the costs that I put together for that one. So that's something we could help you get permits on, because you gotta go get DNR and IDM to get in the creek and do all that work. Unfortunately, probably wouldn't need all those during the emergency, but now you would. So at the
I'm a
time,
little confused by that though, because all the engineering information was passed on to us was that the two bridges that we worked on, which was on Parks Ridge and Smith Ridge, was the only ones that needed any attention.
they were the only two that you couldn't cross.
Well, yeah, that's obvious.
I gave your highway superintendent at the time a whole 4 or 5 pages of calculations on Bridge 6 as well.
Okay.
I just thought it was all getting done at once, because I thought you were going after FEMA monies, and if they gave you money, you'd have to fix it, right? But
Obviously, we don't back people.
you're right, right, that's what I heard, and I didn't realize that till just today, but, so that's one, but there's a few things like that that need repairs, and the plan will update all that for you. The small structures is a whole different program. The bridges get inspected every 2 years because the feds back in the 70s mandated it when the Silver Bridge collapsed over in Ohio and killed 63 people. So they pay for 80% of that. Small structures, no one helps you with those. So a lot of our clients have never done them, because it's not mandated. But once we end up doing a counties, you can do whatever you want. Most of our counties do from 4 feet to 20 foot in span length, because anything under 4 foot, they can go, they're not too worried about it failing. You're not going to fall too far into a hole. We were talking maybe 8 foot and above is a good starting point for you guys. Some people just do their small structures that look like bridges
Do we
versus
even have an
culverts.
asset list that shows 8 foot and above?
No, we'd have to run.
No.
And that's part of something that we could do, or what we prefer is the county goes out and finds all your culverts, puts them on a map, so we don't have to spend our time doing that, because we're probably a lot more expensive than these guys would be doing that.
And basically, like, all of our 8 and 10 foot stuff is, most of it's culverts, and we take care of all that. But a lot of our small bridges in the county that are old, we've never had inspected, so basically, that's what I'd like to have inspected, is the small bridges.
Probably like that one right.
Green Valley, so that being, bottom of Green Valley, is that one of them?
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be,
Bridge Road,
Yep.
the Wooden Bridge.
yep.
So we used to
There's
do a
one
lot
on
of
Jackson,
these.
Right up
That one on
above the
Jackson,
new arch
yeah.
bridge, that small one there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you can find them and locate them, then we can get you a price
Oh,
to
yeah,
do the
we-
inspections.
we-
But we developed our own online map-based software called Ivy a few years ago, because we were doing them in Excel, or if you ever used Microsoft Access, once you put 1 million pictures in it, they just bog down. So we actually hired a software company to develop our own software. And it's all, you can have an app on your phone, your guys can look at it. It's all Google Map based, so it's the same stuff you're using on your iPhones or your Androids all the time, which is kind of nice because you can do it out in the truck while you're out there looking. But most of our clients, once they do their small structure inspections, quit doing bridges for about 10 years because the small structures have been ignored for so long. And a lot of the structures you're probably talking about are 70, 80 to 100 years old. So you'll find some pretty scary stuff out there because it's never been looked at. Until you have a problem, it never gets looked at.
Right.
So that's something a lot of our clients are doing because they're caught up on their bridges, just like you guys. The first time I inspected Switzerland County bridges, I was probably 24 years old. And I think out of the 39 bridges, 25 of them needed replaced at the time back in the early 80s. So you've come a long way. You've got that under control. We're wrapping up the last few that really need something. So it's probably time to start focusing on something on your smaller structures. Just so you're safe, so your people are safe, the roads are safe, they're in use. Most of our clients, like I said, go from 4 feet to 20 feet, and I've had counties with 800 small structures of that size down to about 200. So it all depends on your county. And as hilly as down here, you probably don't have as many as most of the northern counties that have 1,000,000 8-foot pipes. So it probably won't be too bad. We usually do it for about $300 a structure and get them in that software, and then you can use it. We give you read-only access, so if you want it, or if you want it, we can give you a password. You just log into our software. But once you get us a number, we can get you a price for that. And I give you a demo on the Ivy software. I don't know if Derek's already done that with you or not, but it's pretty simple to use. And we typically try not to print out reports because that way it's always online, it's always up to speed. Some of our clients hire us every couple of years to go out and reinspect all the ones they replace, so they're in the system and new, so it's always updated, so you're never falling behind. So you can do it a myriad of ways. When we typically start with a county, we'll say, what do you want to budget for this year? And most of our clients will do $20,000, which will get you about 100 or about 80 structures. So they'll do 20 grand, 20 grand until they get them all inspected. And then typically it's recommended to inspect them every 5 to 10 years after that, not every 2 years. That's what we have to offer.
Do you want to get the counts and
Yeah.
get the quote, then obviously we can
Yep.
entertain.
Yeah.
What we do with that. Relative to Bridge 66.
And Mike went out and looked at that today. He's got some ideas with it. That if we're gonna get started, I know the call for the projects for federal aid comes out right around November 1st. I think it's good till December 6th or something like that. I think that's what the dates are. So we would need something fairly quick to do that engineering study so that we can get ready, because there's only a couple. You'll need not only a commissioner meeting to sign off on the finances of it, but you also need council to sign off on it, a financial commitment letter. There's only a couple meetings left for the council to sign that before that application has to be sent in. So that's something that we would need to get acting on fairly quickly to get that bridge up and going. So that way you guys are ready to look at that and say what's going to be the best alternative. Because like I said, federal aid, you're looking at construction out into the 2030 before it gets constructed. So
That whole little area is so funky. You could do a lot of things there. And there's on the other road, there's a bridge, and then this one has a bridge, and then there's a ford just up from it. So I was kind of going, could you eliminate maybe all three of those and just put one bridge or two smaller bridges in? We were talking about it a little earlier.
Yeah, that's what we.
So it's not just a straightforward, we got to replace the bridge, close the road, same thing that's out there. But that's where, if you try to do something big like that solved all those issues, you're probably talking going federal aid because of the size of the project. Community crossings might be a good alternative if we just replace the one bridge. And since you can get in the other end, you could just close the road and stay on alignment, but then you still have the ford there that has problems when it floods, and you got the other bridge on the main road.
Like a person that lives right across from.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's right there too.
I guess my question is, obviously, if you did your study and determined that federal aid was the route to go, does applying for that federal aid, is that part of that $15,000 cost?
I'll walk Dusty through that. I've helped other clients. We just did one in Scott County. He's never done a federal aid project, so we're walking him through that process of how to get that bridge funded, and then all the paperwork that goes along with it for the next 5 to 8 years, because there's a couple years after it gets constructed, you still have to turn in paperwork. And I'll walk Dusty through that step by step so that he knows when to turn stuff in and when not to. That's all part of that whole process.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, we are familiar with community crossings.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, since I've been a commissioner, we've never applied for federal aid on a project, so I have to believe it's something totally new to
I've been with
all of
USI.
us sitting here anyway.
And we have to actually go present in front of them, right?
You have to go, they won't let us go.
That's what we.
But we'll prepare everything you need to present as part of this study. And it may come out that, it's better off going community crossings too. because federal aid is a huge, you have to have preliminary engineering, which will be several $100,000. You have to do full-time construction inspection, which is usually 15% of the construction cost. So there are some big numbers there. Where community crossings, you don't have to do all that.
But community crossings, you can't do multiple calls for the same project, right?
Right.
Right.
And the other portion,
So that means at least somewhere between now and 2028 and 2030, we're gonna have to have $1 million plus just for that one bridge, probably.
and in community crossing, you have to pay for the PE, the engineering up
Right.
front. Whereas federal aid, they can pay for that engineering up front.
No, they will.
So they can also assist with the right-of-way purchases. 80% of that will be paid by the federal aid. That will be part of that, and, you know, the construction inspection, 80% of that will be paid. So there's other things that those costs will get subsidized. So
I'd have
we
to
can
believe that
leverage
the
that.
right-of-way purchases wouldn't be an issue unless we're doing something other than the one bridge that's there today, because I have to believe that.
Well, you still, around that bridge, if you don't already own that property, you have to get, if you go federal aid, you have to buy it.
I
So-
hope we own them. You would think that we
You
would
would
purchase
think,
the right-of-ways back when we
yeah.
built the last time, but.
But you never know. We ran into a lot of situations where they thought that, but it wasn't. So we'll have to
We went
investigate
into
that.
situations where we totally didn't own it too, and bought it a second time, so.
Yes.
But
But you hope that that's part of that
With
process.
NDOT, we have
so.
to find something in the recorder's records, or they'll consider it the edge of pavement.
we finally went back and found that
Took a,
Yeah.
yeah.
that we owned it, but it took a while.
In my 10 years of working with USI and coming down here and calling on you guys, I've never seen a federal aid project like that. So this would be the first one. My 8 years as a commissioner, I can't tell you how many we did in Hancock County, because I think they've got 30 active ones right now, just in Hancock alone. So I've been through that over the last 18 years, numerous federal aid projects, from sitting in your shoes to helping Dusty do these. So,
It's just another tool.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Mike's got 40 years in this process, so.
And I hate the whole system, but if you don't spend it, someone else is gonna spend it, so it might as well be you guys. This is the way I've always looked at it. I wish they'd do away with the federal highway to tell you the truth,
that?
but
We won't start anything till
You'll
2030.
start the engineering,
I mean, now.
right, I mean, that would, well,
But construction wouldn't start
right, not until that,
6 years from now.
yeah.
This is the engineering just to decide what the best method is. Then it would be engineering for the
The actual
design of the
design of the
structure.
project.
Which that's engineering is gonna be $60,000-$70,000 probably minimum.
Oh, you're looking probably closer to a couple 100,000 if it's that big,
That bigger stuff.
yes.
And
So that's, and that's why we want to do this up front, so that you guys have the best information to make the right decision as to which route you guys need to proceed with.
So the question today is, do we want to spend $15,000 to go ahead and do the initial study?
which could be used for community crossings or federal aid, or doing it local if that's what you wanna do. I mean, we can
Yes.
look at it multiple ways and give
And
you the
just
breakdown.
replacing the one bridge as of now would be cheaper than if we had to go federal aid, we could probably reroute maybe to come out over by Safe Green instead of having.
I go straight, right off that
Yeah.
way.
Cause if you go federal aid, you're probably fixing the curve at the east end, because there's requirements for curve lengths and stuff like that, which probably gets you into the low water crossing. So it just grows and grows and grows as you go up. I mean, locally, you can do whatever you want. CCMG, yeah, they really don't hold your hand too tightly, so you can do kind of what you want. But federal aid, there's all kinds of guidelines we have to go by.
Well, I can tell you, we don't want to pay for it locally and on our dime. I mean,
Well, we
use community crossings.
We
Oh, yeah.
estimate, what is it, estimated 1.8 million for this is our estimate on replacement of that bridge,
Is
So-
in the plan there.
I think.
In 2020, we
Yeah.
had it in there.
2020, I think
Then you
it was.
add 150 or 200,000 in engineering fees on
That's
top
only
of that.
80% of the money. So.
And now you can get 1.5 million with CCMG, so you're talking a $2 million project at your 75-25 split, so probably can fit into that.
But the 1.5 is only, it's not having a 1.5 anymore.
That's just this year only, I think, isn't it?
I don't
They
know.
haven't
We
said, I
haven't-
think it's gonna stay there.
I think it will.
I think next General Assembly, they're gonna change it all anyway and give the big cities more money, and you guys are gonna get less, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Cause they have all the power, right?
Joe, do you know how much commissioners have in their fund?
The Cume Bridge you just showed us was over $1 million.
That's Cume Bridge, yeah. We got over, well, we got over $1 million in Cume Bridge, but some of that is what's in there for fixing up Plum Creek and for community crossings.
But I do love the issue.
There's probably at least 750 in Cume Bridge.
The Cume Bridge can also be used for this, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
For Southern,
Yeah, because we have professional services on there, which would pay for the engineering.
You can use Cume Bridge for your small structure inspections
How
too.
much is it?
Yeah.
I can look at
Million.
that, sorry, you just said today, but that was.
$1,005,000, but some of that,
Some of that's already accounted for. There's no way we got.
right, like I said, we put our community crossing money in there.
The reimbursement from the community crossing, you just said that was over 5.
Yeah, there's 235 that needs to be paid now for that, and then there's,
That's the Plum Creek,
Plum Creek.
yeah, because we'd only paid 700 and some thousand of
And
that.
then there's a retainage fee left, which is 89 or 98,000. So there'll be 3 something roughly gonna come out of there yet.
Where's the professional?
The first line item,
There's 56,000 left in the professional services. I don't know of any other projects that we're currently working on, or that we are getting engineering and everything.
this sounds like something we need to do. Probably ought to be fast, so.
Cause if you do decide to go community crossings,
He wants to spend 15.
15, I'll spend 15. Well, it's in order to get some bigger monies, so.
I guess for me, it's more to understand what's the best approach, whether that's through community crossings or federal aid. And if the answer is federal aid, it sounds like we've got a shorter window, I guess.
Yeah.
To make that decision.
cause if you go community crossings, you're probably not talking submit until 2026, cause it'll take a year to develop it, get plans, get right away, get permits and all that. So you got time if you go community crossings, but as part of this assessment, we would break down what your share of each one of those would be, so you'll have all the information to make an informed decision at the end.
And if you take, so if it is federal aid, it's just rough numbers, 1.8 million for replacement, 200,000 for engineering costs, that's 2 million. On the federal aid at 20%, it costs the county 400,000. 2 million on 2 calls of community crossings, it's gonna cost us 500,000. So it's $100,000 more. If that's where it ends up. So I don't know what's the right answer. Obviously, if I could save $100,000, that's the right answer.
Well, and then that frees
And this 15,000.
frees up your community crossings for that year too.
Federal, money as well. It could be turned in.
that 15,000 won't be turned into that piece. It's just gonna give you the information to decide which direction you want to proceed with. And that's what we're hoping to be able to show you, is that where you're gonna see the biggest savings of which way to proceed with replacing that bridge, because it does need to be replaced. It can be replaced with local monies, but that's about 1.8 million to do that. Or it can go to federal aid, or it can go to community crossing. What's gonna be the best way to, you pay the least amount of money to get that bridge replaced? And that's what we're trying to find out for you. So, and we'll give you alternatives.
Plus, if you go federal aid, the year you're getting the federal aid, you can still go after community crossings.
Absolutely.
So that's adding $2 million to your pocket.
And if we could reroute from the low water crossing over to Safe Green, then we would need, what, a quarter of the size bridge?
Yeah.
That's a small creek.
That's kind of why we do it, but the real reason we do these for our clients is because if you walk into your interview with NDOT with a report in your hand and real numbers, You'll get awarded, trust me. We've never been denied. It's when you walk in and go, oh, we think we need this much, but we've not really put any of our money on the table. It's competitive anymore because there's so much need out there. So that's the real reason we do it. But in this situation, I think it's best to do some kind of in-depth analysis so that you have good numbers to make a decision on. Plus, you don't want to go after federal aid or community crossings and have a number you're not confident with, because they will not give you more money these days, especially federal aid.
I mean, when we
pretty
go to
tight.
community crossings, we always have engineering estimates, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have a contract or anything?
No, it's just looking for your approval to go that direction, and if that's what you guys want, like I said, we can go off of yeah.
Our on
I'm
Our
gonna
on-call,
approve 15,000
so-
without some form of, me personally, without some
Right.
form of contract.
And that will come, it's just, we need your approval to say, yes, go after that, and we'll get with Dusty and get that, so he can bring it back to you, you guys sign it, and then we'll be all set.
Basically,
So-
we're not approving it right now, we'll just give permission to head that way, and then they'll get us a contract to actually approve it on. that.
So under your on-call, we have a form in the back of the appendix called an authorization to proceed form. We'll fill that out and it'll be under that agreement, but it just needs an approval signature given back to us.
You're talking about in our current
Yeah.
contract.
Yes, we have the current contract with you, and it's just that piece of it that says, this is what, you're gonna spend $15,000 for us to be able to do this engineering assessment on Bridge 66. And we just need an authorization to proceed with that piece of it. You still have that contract with all of our information in it. That is still on file with you. So. But we can have that drafted so that he can bring that to the next meeting, and then you guys can see what that scope is and sign off on it. Then we can get started.
Yeah, I mean, there's no cost for that, right?
Right, there's no cost for that. We just need your approval, because if you guys say, nah, we're not gonna look at it, we're out the door and on to the next thing. But if you say yes, then that's where we'll proceed, and we'll continue working on these other items so that you guys can get those taken care of also, because those maintenance issues need to be addressed. That can also be done on the on-call, so that we can look at getting your permits and getting all that stuff done, so that you guys are ready to fix some of those, because a couple of those, talking with Dusty, may be bigger than what your department can handle. So we may need to hire some of that stuff out. In order to do that, we can do the permitting with that. But again, we can have the authorization to proceed with those individual projects also.
I guess I'm a little bit confused there. I don't understand why you need an authorization to proceed with giving us a quote for a project.
Right.
Because to me, an authorization to proceed gives you authorization to bill us for something.
So
I want you to tell us what it's gonna cost and the scope of work for what you're gonna do, then we could vote on that and say, yeah, we think we need it. Go ahead.
The authorization to proceed is a form. That's just what we call it. It's in our on-call agreement, and that's the agreement spells out. If you hire us to do a job under this on-call, we'll fill out this form and you'll sign it at the bottom so we have approval to start. And it'll say $15,000 lump sum engineering assessment for Bridge 66. That's all we're talking about. So it's basically the agreement.
There's no cost for.
No.
Nope.
Okay.
No, it'll have the cost for the engineering assessment. It's just a form that we use, so our accounting has something to show our insurance company, right? And that you have something on file that says we've authorized them to proceed through this agreement, which makes it all legal.
But all we're authorize you to proceed with is
To give you-
creating a scope of work and a quote, right?
At this point in time, and then I'll hand that to Dusty, he'll bring it to you, and you guys will look at it and say, yes, go ahead and proceed, sign it. Usually gonna be the president.
With that, I'll
Yeah.
send you a copy of a example engineering assessment that we've done, so you'll kind of see what's in it. And we format, since we typically do these for federal aid projects, we'll format it just like the application that's on NDOT's website, so it gives you all that data, so it's easy to fill out. And although we'll be behind the scenes helping Dusty, who is your ERC, I take it?
Yeah.
Yeah, your engineer, our employee and responsible charge, the ERC with NDOT, he's had to get certified. They will only allow him a password to get in their system, but we'll help him through all that. Yeah. Good. So we'll get to that.
Thank
You don't need to approve anything tonight. But
Appreciate it.
thank you.
All right. Gil Real,
Back.
you never left.
Oh, I know. I'm here to basically ask permission to hire Yvette when she becomes available. The process right now that was agreed upon is that Gail can look for an employee to take Yvette's place doing payroll and accounts payable. And in that process, Yvette would stay on for a few weeks or however long it takes. But then after that, she would be available to become the deputy in the treasurer's office and learn hands-on some of the things that she can expect next year. And this had been discussed at a council meeting, but I believe according to the handbook, need to come to you and ask for permission to do that.
And Gil did come to, Gil Sullivan did come to us last meeting, I believe it was. And we authorized that process under the condition that the net incremental headcount increase wouldn't extend beyond 2 months.
I don't think I know what you mean.
Once I hire someone, I'm not gonna keep them for 2 months and then you have 2 months, which there's not enough time left in the year to even do that.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, there really isn't.
Probably
Okay.
like a month, if that, so
Right. So
I can find
if
someone.
you was able, obviously it's not September 1st, but October the 1st, she had someone on, maybe it takes 3 weeks, I don't know how long it takes, then your office would operate with 3 people as opposed to 2 currently.
Well, actually, it would be 2.5. Vicky has agreed to train her on, there's two separate jobs. They combine in certain points, but we each do the same thing in different ways for checks and balances, if you will. And Vicky is going to train her on the side that she does. And then as time allows, I'm going to train her on the basics of what the treasurer usually does. There's no set rule on what you have to do, who has to do what. But Vicky will only be part-time. It would not be 3 full-time people.
We don't
We've already
We
voted
don't
on
approve
it.
them yet, so I mean, yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, once you get somebody hired,
I mean, you voted on my position, but
Well, I mean,
okay,
we'll-
they
we'll
heard
approve
why
them.
she.
But your explanation was contingent on her situation as well. I mean, I have no problem making the same motion and taking the same vote.
Yeah, I mean,
And I don't care.
Uh,
I mean, nothing was really clarified, you know, it was,
just to put it on record, I'll make motion to approve the plan. However you want to word it. So for Yvette to move over to Gail's office when you have your position.
give them in training. I'll second that motion, so.
Yeah.
Got a motion from Jerry, a second from Randy to approve,
Yeah.
Yvette Emmett going to, treasurer's office. After she was properly trained, a replacement, as a payroll clerk with combined terms of the 2 positions not exceeding 2 months.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
Probably a little bit more clear.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thanks, Gail.
Yeah, thanks, I'm sorry it took so long.
That's all right.
Lucinda Mango,
Pam's with me tonight.
Hello.
This is my first time. So I'm gonna give you guys these folders.
More reading material.
Oh,
More
material.
radio material.
come
You
to
actually
tell us
don't
you're
have to
gonna
read.
increase our interest rate?
Oh, yeah.
On that.
I was like, My name is Pam Crozier. I am from the Madison office and I'm the manager there. And I actually sit on your side of the table in Jefferson County. So I know all the grueling stuff that you guys do. So we're actually here to make it simple for you. This is a
We're
thing
pretty
that
simple
you
people.
guys you may add to your employees that work for Switzerland County as a benefit at no cost to you. So I think Lucinda's gonna try to do the presentation today, and I'm just, well,
No.
I can do it.
No, she's got that wrong. I'm
Okay.
gonna watch.
Okay, so I'm here to present
We're
this.
in training.
I'm in training.
She's in
Yes,
training.
exactly.
But when I'm here, because of your relationship with First Financial Bank, we can partner together to make this work life a benefit for all of your Switzerland County employees if they open up a checking account relationship with First Financial Bank. And what some of the, I call them ancillary benefits that they can get by opening up a checking account relationship with First Financial Bank. What those things are is we can review their, let's see, if they have an outstanding 401k, we can actually do a financial wellness kind of check and roll like an outstanding 401k. We can kind of review that and maybe kind of give them some guidance. We have partners that do that for them at no cost. We can give, so like a financial education. We can also we have health savings accounts. We have all different types of things for them that we can do. So that checking account, what I'm saying, when they open up that checking account, in that first, the first 3 months that they have that checking account, they establish with us, they do the direct deposit with us. And it has to be $500. So they can do it within the first 30 days if they want. I think it's really easy if they do that. Establish that direct deposit based on the number of employees that you have here in Switzerland County. That employee, we give them a benefit, a bonus into their account of $100. And all they have to do is do a direct deposit and use their debit card 3 times. And we give them a bonus of $100 back into that account. If they already have a checking account housed at First Financial Bank, we just tell them to come and open another account with us and they get this performance account. Okay. They can open a new account and then we can also give them this performance account. This performance account is basically an account that we have, and the other benefits that they get along with this performance account is if they ever do any type of lending with First Financial Bank, they will get a rate discount on lending. If they do a mortgage with First Financial Bank, they get a discounted rate on that mortgage. They also get closing cost discounts.
Is it a certain percent under prime or?
It is a 0.25% discount. So that's just the general
On
rule
your-
of thumb.
On your standard rate.
Yes, your standard rate. It's a 0.25% discount. That's the same thing that we get as employees. So it's a nice discount. So, I mean, basically, it's just you meeting as commissioners, telling us, yes, we want to do this for our employees here at Switzerland County. We set it up. We get the special code that we know at the bank that if a Switzerland County employee comes in and wants to do that, we open this account for them, and then we just basically watch it and make sure all those triggers are met, that they have the direct deposit and they've met those 3 the debit card transactions, and then that next, closest Thursday towards the end of the month,
It's
we'll,
the 29th of the month.
yeah, we will directly deposit that bonus of $100 into their account. So, they have all the benefits of the account that we have, but we will come to, like I have done in other places, like in Jefferson County, I set up and I went to the sheriff's department. We went to the courthouse. We went to the health department. So they don't necessarily have to come to us. The great thing is we can come to you, and we like to provide, we've done donuts, we've done pizzas, we've done different things, so where we can come to you and it's a benefit to your employees. that we
Which
can-
office did you take the donuts to?
I wish you would have brought them tonight.
Yeah, we do, little snacks and stuff, and then swag and different things, just so that we make it easy for your employees. It's a nice benefit for them. And I don't know, your auditor was here earlier today, but we worked,
I'm here.
you're the auditor.
Yeah,
So you know,
That's the treasurer.
Heather, Heather Huff. Heather Huff and Heather White were instrumental in setting up we called them the work-life days. And they worked in conjunction with me, and we just set those days up with the different departments. And we came in and opened those accounts for the different employees so that they knew, we sent out our flyers once we got the marketing team. And we gave those, I think Heather White was the one that distributed those through not through the branches, through the buildings. And so that the employees knew that we were going to be there so that they could stagger and come in, and we opened those on site for them. Then what we did is we went back to our offices. We opened the accounts for the employees. And then we actually went back the day that we opened those and gave them their debit cards so that they didn't even have to go back to the branch to get their debit cards. It was all simple, had their online bankings established for them so that it was just so simple for the employee. And we really had a good feedback the way we did it for them. So it's something for you guys to talk about. All you have to do is say yes, and we set it up for them. You're more than welcome to call Heather White or Heather Huff at Jefferson County and find out, how easy it went for them in the transition.
So if we say yes, the county has no obligation to Lewisburg.
Mm-mm. Nope. The elected officials on down to the staff, anyone, elected officials and the county employees, anyone can participate. The trigger is the $500 deposit, as well as the debit card transactions. And then that's what we do. And then the other pieces of it, pardon?
You have to keep a balance on that? You said
No, there's no balance. There's no balance.
Deposit 500, they could spend
Right.
on the three.
We want you to keep the relationship with us. That is
That's the goal.
that's the
Yeah.
goal, is to keep but in the future, what we would like to do is if there is a need, and people have questions, whether they want to bring in our financial partners, where we found the need at Jefferson County, where we had a lot of our employees over there in Jefferson County that had left other employment and just have 401ks out there. These guys don't know what to do with it. And so we have partners that come in that can coach them and advise them on what to do and to not leave those out there unmanaged. Some people are younger and they don't have any idea what to do with those. So we have partners that we like to bring along with us, and, if they want advisement, that's what we're here to do. So if you have any questions, there's cards there. You can get back to Lucinda and she can get you a work-life number, and we can get you rolling and then set up those work-life days if you want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, since there's no obligation
Yeah,
from
I
the
mean-
county, I don't know that it's something that we have to take a vote on or anything like that. It's not like it's
We just wanted
a
to.
contract or anything
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah, we
There
just
is
didn't
no
want to show
contract.
up and bring
Yeah,
all this
expect
stuff
you
and
to
they
give
say,
it-
what's going
Like
on?
when I went into Dave and Bobby Little and Ron Lee, they were like, "Yeah, we're not gonna tell you till the next." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." It's not like
Did they vote on it?
Yeah, they wouldn't tell me until the next commissioner meeting, not even at my council meeting, so I had to wait. Like I didn't know what they were gonna do, but it was okay.
I mean, it's just, it's ongoing. I mean, if you get the new
The
accounts
information's out there.
Yeah, and it takes
Whether
us,
It's
right, she'll go back, if you say yes, she'll fill out a form.
Establish
We'll
the
create a
work-life code.
number, and then, she'll
Her
start.
plan too, Lucinda, was gonna, if you guys approve it, we'd get with,
Each department head, or like the treasurer, the
Pete, we'd get with
Pete,
Pete.
yeah,
To
Pete.
kind of work with him and the other departments too.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that says any employee has to participate.
No, not at all.
No, we just basically wanted your guys' blessing before we go into the courthouse and start soliciting.
And I think then
Yeah, my blessing, if that means anything.
It
Yeah,
does.
so just an official vote and then we can go back and get to work.
I don't know how to.
I'll make a motion to allow the county employees to participate in First Financial work life and financial wellness program.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you very much. Thanks for all what you guys
Got
do.
a motion from Jamie, a second from Randy. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, yes,
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
yes, ma'am, thank you.
Karen, clerk contracts.
So we got some good news. We applied for a grant from the election division and we got the entire grant, which was $40,500 roughly.
Congratulations.
And
on
so these are contracts that just need to be signed for stuff that we've decided that we're gonna acquire. This one probably does not need signatures. I would just like you to sign off on it because these are just adding equipment to our existing election equipment. We're adding a couple more pieces, parts. And I just wanna, I'll sign it after you guys do.
Papers.
We ended up with, one of my vendors you might wanna show them which one needs to sign.
She got a tab there.
Yeah, I've got it tabbed. So the second one is Knowing, which is our current poll pad vendor. And we are getting 5 brand new poll pads to replace our 4 that we currently have, which will make, they're a little bit more efficient. I think the original poll pads are probably 10 years old. They're iPads that are kind of on their last legs and I don't wanna. Yeah, he's back on GBS, so you might want to start from. Okay. Sorry. Randy had it. He did it.
So I think we should go ahead and take a vote on it,
Okay.
and approve it, even though it's grant funded, so I don't know that it actually needs our approval, but, this one appears to me that it only has continuing costs of like $315 a year for, software licensing
Actually, it's more than
fee
that.
and support.
That's, the software licensing for that. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's already built into my budget for next year though. And I think it's $5,600 is their annual contract.
You know,
Yeah, this one has its own. This one's different.
that one's called out, it's $5,700. I remember the email you sent.
Yeah,
This
That-
only shows 350 as an annual
because
licensing
that's
fee.
prorated for the rest of the year. That's why. So the annual licensing
Will
fee
be for one contract.
for GBS is $5,600 roughly.
Are you adding something to the contract until the end of the year?
It's already in there.
But she's
It's already in there.
adding and what.
Papers.
Yeah, that was the original contract. I think you may have signed that, but it's pretty much still in force. So.
So this is basically ballot box units,
Yeah.
scanners and
We have,
software, basically.
yeah, we have Duos, which is the equipment that you actually put your ballot through. We have enough of those because we got some extras from Versailles. They had ordered too many. What we don't have is a controller, which is you do the poll pads first and then you go to the next section, which is a controller. And that actually spits out a ticket that you get a 10-minute vaporizing code to put into the equipment. That's the controller, and then there's a scanner. So on election day, we hang out in the courthouse and we scan everybody's ballot that came in from the time the early voting started. So it'll just expedite.
I don't think we need a vote. I think you got a grant, it's
Okay.
for you to spend how you want, right?
Well, it is your contract though. You are to sign off on the contract. That's what she.
I was just making sure that we're,
Because the continuing costs you said are higher than the $315.
Yeah.
Ongoing licensing costs. 'Cause that's-
we've already paid the licensing fees for this year. That's just a proration of what probably is left on the new equipment.
She got new equipment for the primary.
We're getting ready to
For the
order,
general.
we're getting ready to order it actually. So,
That's fine.
That
That's
one on
fine.
that line.
mhm.
It's just a contract with
Yeah.
GBS.
She's got a contract with PBS, no way you can.
OVC, OCB, sorry.
Okay, I'll make motion to approve the contract with GBS Business Systems, amount of $14,424.
It's all through grants.
That's all through agreement.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion from Jerry, a second from Randy to approve the GBS Governmental Business Systems contract in the amount of $14,424. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
What I'll do is when I get these signed, I've got to send these to the vendors in the morning, so we can get some of the stuff ordered prior to the general. And then open contracts, the original then, you will keep it.
It's coming up fast.
Oh my gosh, too fast.
And the next
Okay,
one,
so the next one is no ink, and this is replacement of our pull tabs. They'll be brand new, they'll have stands, they'll have cases. The stands actually will flip around so that you can discreetly choose your party, so that I don't have to look at them, or the clerks that are checking you out don't have to see them. And it's wireless printers and the whole bit. So the 53 that I've highlighted on there is the actual amount for this year. And then he's included the monies for licensing for the next 2 years. So the first batch includes the licensing for this year.
That's kind of your budget, Doc, right?
Yes, well,
Okay.
that actually, that is not in my budget yet. I take it back. Yes, that is in my budget. Sorry.
Near 25.
It's already in there.
Maybe just for this year.
Jerry, do you-
Yes. You know, it's later.
Go ahead.
Good.
Yeah. No wink,
no wink.
no wink.
It's for the full pads. She's getting new for the
Just not a
general, yeah, 30, but it's the other.
It's just a purchase, not a contract.
It is a contract.
It is a contract.
But it's also a purchase.
Yeah, it's a purchase and a contract.
I'll make a motion to approve $5,370 from Keno Wink for the pull pads, whatever pads these things are.
What you need to vote, buddy, do you have?
Sign on.
Just
Yep.
Just get your driver's license, he brings you up. You know what that is?
So
I'll second that.
got a motion from Randy, a second from Jerry to approve the purchase of the full pad cases and printers. The amount of $5,370. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
very painful.
No wink. What's how's it pronounced?
No, we,
No wink.
yeah.
That's the thing, didn't you?
You said kennel wink.
No, I
I
have
said no.
we have to send the invoices to them, and they'll reimburse the vendors, we don't have to do that. So I'm trying to get the guys to get us invoices done. Which will be in the next, I've got some of the invoices already. And the last one is, OCD, it's called the government app, Gov app. And what happened with my original, I had another poll pad vendor who backed out at the last minute. And because he backed out, I had a lot of extra funds available that we could use. So this is for an app for, simply for the election, which it's a good marketing tool, because if we can get everybody to sign up for the app, 93% of us carry a cell phone of some sort or a smartphone, get an app on. You can do election results, you can get, like, I can put all of my candidates in there, and if we need to feed them information really quick, as long as I have the app, it'll do notifications out to them. A lot of the other clerks in the state have been using it, and they use it for their elections, for elections results. They put, parts on there for the clerk's office, so you can do marriage licenses. You have to do that through the internet to begin with. So it's just a very, very nice tool to put in the hands, because we don't have a lot of great ways to get information out to our community. I know we got Facebook, which not everybody uses. Not everybody uses the newspaper. We don't have radio any longer. And this is just another avenue to get information out quickly. They even put weather alerts on these. In fact, I downloaded just for friends the other day was White County's app. And all weekend, the weather alerts kept popping up, so they really work.
What about road closure?
This is grant money.
We could probably figure out how to put it in there. Yes, yes, this
This
is,
is grant money.
yes, absolutely.
So you just need a,
But I need that voted on, but then I need to add licensing to my budget. I do not have licensing for this in this year's budget.
Yeah, in here you've got the 9985, which is the, basically the one-time install
that-
or whatever it is,
But that includes this
mobile
year's.
app development.
From the time we sign the contract, that contract is in force from, like, if you sign it tonight, it'll happen tonight. And that licensing is already included for the first year in that $9,000. Then they've got 25's contract and 26. They'll.
But that's, so you're telling me that the 4,495
is
is
not-
already included in the
Yes.
9985
Yes.
for this year,
This year.
but then we've got it ongoing for 25 and 26.
And it would be due in September of next year. So
And the grant money covers that, those two, or gotta have to be a part of the county
it's
budget?
just part of our county budget. I'll need to keep that in mind.
So the whole amount or just
4495,
4,400,
yeah.
then you got 5,000, and then GPS was 14.
GPS is 56. And Noe was 18 or 19, and then this.
18 or 19,000,
19, I'm sorry.
because they approved 5370 on their way.
That's the cost
The new.
for the whole.
But you got 42,000,
For the grant?
Yeah.
The whole grant was 40,419.
and that counted all of that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do some addition,
No, but
to see if it would pay for an extra year for that, since you've already submitted your budget, is what I'm trying to.
I think when I've got all this said and done, I think I've got, because I have some other parts to buy from, I've been holding off from Uline. I had $2,000 or $2,500 coming up from Uline, and then I still have to pay for inclusions, which is done banners and signage for us already, which I have a lot of that stuff in my office. I just got the invoice. So I think I have about $1,600 left in
I
that.
was just going to say, pay for another year.
we need to make a motion on this. Motion to,
You know that you're making a motion for this year, but she's needing to add it to her budget for next year.
$4,500 a year
Yeah.
for the next two. Yep.
Yes, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the OCB contract for the mobile app development and mobile app support, for the clerk's office in the amount of $9,985 with continuing costs, of $44.95 on an annualized basis.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion from Jamie, second from Randy. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
These are 3-year contracts, so if at the end of 3 years we decide it's just not, any of these are doing what we're supposed to be doing, we have an out.
Terry Walker, John Hancock.
Well, if you take 16, whatever's one.
consider capital?
All right, thank you.
Not counting that.
Okay. Thank you, Karen.
Get to
Thank
that in
you.
just a second. Professional liability insurance. I grabbed mine. I know what this is for.
Done 3 hours ago.
I know what it's for, but I don't see the contract.
I don't have anything there. He asked me to put it on there and he said he had emailed.
RSCER. That's for SCER.
I think I remember seeing.
But I didn't get any emails from her.
It came from Pete.
Yeah.
But it was with, yeah, with Gardner.
Now that you say that.
I didn't get anything from her.
Who did it come from? Hey,
Some. All of the insurance people now,
Yeah.
it matters.
see it.
So,
Because didn't you want to know how much it was last year? The cost was?
Oh, here it is. Yeah, I asked him. So he put, I have requested this information for Katrina and asked Gail to have it added to the agenda for this evening, but if we don't have the information, then
I didn't get any information.
we'll table that till, this is gonna be done by September hold on.
6th? That's the thing that has to be done by the 6th.
It was either the 6th or the 23rd. It expires on the 13th. We don't have another meeting before the 13th. So I'm not sure why Pete didn't bring it to the meeting with him.
Maybe
Right.
he didn't get it either.
He should have told us. So it's the professional liability insurance coverage for SCER in the amount of $15,785.
Because they only are supposed to have something, a form filled out.
Do what?
I think she did.
Or something.
In the email, it says that Emily did
Yeah.
complete it.
Oh, no, that-
Yeah, there was.
Basically attached renewal quote for professional liability coverage. Would you like me to let Katrina know we wish to review, or should I hold it until Emily responds? See nothing about not having to be filled out.
There was something she was supposed to.
so the other one again, 13th,
13th.
That's when it would expire.
10 days. We don't do anything there.
He said the new quote is based off of what Emily submitted to the insurance.
I don't have any idea what it is relative to last year's.
That'd be in the budget book?
I don't know, I'm having trouble thinking at the moment.
No.
I guess we'll table it.
From 9/13 of 23 to 9/13 of 24, it was 15,682.50.
Is that what she submitted?
That's what was submitted by the
Trina?
Katrina, the insurance person. He said, please see the.
He said.
This is last year's, yeah. Last year was 15,682.50.
That what I said.
I think so. Now, where did I just have the other one?
He said that you should have got an email from him with last year's invoice. It would have came
Yeah, it
through
says
at
attached to
40.
the invoice for last year.
So it went up $103. That was 15,682, right?
was last year, so
Yeah.
15,785 this year, right?
15,680. Yes, it was 15,680.
And this year's 15,785, so we're up 82 to 85, $103. I make a motion to approve the professional liability insurance coverage from Admiral Insurance Group for Switzerland County Emergency Response in the amount of $15,785.
Second that.
Got a motion from Jamie, a second by Jerry to approve professional liability coverage for FCER in the amount of $15,785. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody, that concludes everything on our agenda. Oh, Jerry, you or Randy have anything else?
Yeah, know that two of our fire departments in the county have put burn bans in effect for their districts. I was asked if we were going to just make a countywide burn ban until we get some rain. East Enterprise and Posey have already basically put bans on, so I don't know, we just follow suit and do the whole county. Get involved and, put it out there.
I think we probably ought to do it. I mean,
Pretty
hey,
good.
it's dry out my place. I'm, you know, got a little farm. I've been feeding hay, I don't know for how long already. So I know it's dry out there. So, I mean, it's, so, yeah, we probably ought to make it countywide until further notice.
I agree.
Entertain a motion?
Motion?
I make a motion for a countywide burn ban until further notice. Be advised by the fire departments and the EMA.
Second that motion.
Got a motion from Jerry, a second from Randy to implement a countywide burn ban until further notice. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
The only other thing I had a couple of people question me about fall cleanup. If we're gonna do it, when we might do it, since we're rolling into September. What are we gonna do fall cleanup? If it was gonna be this month or next month.
When have we historically done it?
I'd have to look it back and see, I don't.
Call it next.
Yeah, we used to do it twice.
Yeah, we've always done it twice. Town of Bowie used to do it twice, and they don't do it once. They do the spring. We always try to do it in conjunction. That way people's not filling up their dumpsters, or vice versa. But, we've still been doing it twice.
That's just what one bug, bunch of dumpsters out of.
Usually 7.
Seven.
Say it's usually October something.
I don't know.
It's usually the end of September, first part of October. I have people ask.
Dumpsters.
Uh,
What's that?
So you would get the dumpsters?
Yeah,
I mean,
well, you would pay for them, I would,
oh, okay, for
let's make sure we're clear on that.
okay. Understood. I was gonna tell you how good one for it would do now.
Yeah, that's nice.
It didn't- Yeah, it does look good.
We don't have to take care of it tonight, we can wait till next week. I don't know,
looks like historically we've done it around the end of October.
yeah, I don't know how tight people are on dumpsters and stuff. Licensing, that's, they've been.
I'd say we get a week or two ahead of time notice. We'll probably fine.
All right. And we can decide that next meeting. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I just wanted to bring it up to a
I
handful of people asking if we were gonna do it or not.
I seen that on Facebook, so next meeting. All right.
Anything else?
And Jerry, we did have a school endowment meeting, last Tuesday, I believe it was. And we just went ahead, it was a very short meeting, to pay the debt service for this year of, looks like $662,000 and some change, so. So that's the only thing we did, that's just real quick. In the last 10 minutes.
I didn't have any board meetings. One thing I would announce is that, we did make an offer, extend an offer for highway clerk. That offer was accepted and Jenny Owens, is that correct? Will be the new county highway clerk and she starts September the 9th, correct?
Yep.
Anyone else, the audience? Entertain a motion to dismiss,
I'll make a motion to
or adjourn, I'm sorry.
adjourn the meeting.
Second that motion.
Got a motion from Randy, a second from Jerry. All in favor? Aye.